Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the Season 5 Mythic League with FOF Esports. I am your caster war leader, joined by my friend across the Atlantic, Lolo.
Hello, War Leader. Hello, everyone. I am super excited. This is a wonderful way to start the weekend, isn't it? We've got some incredible games coming up today, and this particularly is going to be a really spicy one between both of these teams, both 1-0 currently after yesterday's games, Rice Farmers and Sick Game Riot. Let's have a look at the draft, see where the bands are taking us.
Yeah, so far we're seeing Viego and Lucian taken away from Sick Game Riot, and those aren't picks that they pulled out last time. Definitely picks that appear on the OPGGs, so nothing too surprising in terms of that. Geico being very big Zeri player, so not surprised to see that go away. But what I am surprised to see go away is the Ari, piloted by Street Smurf yesterday, looked very strong. So Rice Farmers are going to pick that one up first.
Yeah, so both Kaiso and Street Smurf are 1-0 currently on Ari. Ari has a 100% win rate in Mythic so far. The Lucian Nami was pulled out by Sick Game Riot yesterday, and they looked. This is arguably the strongest bot lane, or at least the most dangerous bot lane we're aware of in the league. So giving them that power pick is something that Rice Farmers really want to avoid. The Trundle as an immediate blind pick, I think, is very interesting. I mean, most likely this is going to be going into the hands of Pigu Pounder, particularly with Viego already taken off the table. But of course, it isn't entirely foolproof, and the same with this Syndra pick. I mean, potentially they might be thinking that Kaiso wants to be going into something quite aggressive. But with the Katarina already taken off the table, this is a very interesting response from Sick Game to begin with.
Yeah, what I like about these two picks is that even though they both are heavily implied to be in one role, they have an easy time flexing into another role. I wouldn't be so surprised to see Syndra bot. I wouldn't be so surprised to see Trundle top. And with Nidalee being a pickup in the jungle, I'm actually really excited for this one because there are recent buffs to Nidalee. And this is not really a pick that we see much in the Heroic League. It takes a lot of mechanical prowess to pilot. So I'm really excited to see how 5 seconds plays this one.
Yes, and of course, we would expect it to be paired with something potentially quite aggressive in the top lane as well with Vez. I mean, yesterday he was looking pretty good on the Gwen, but I mean, potentially could be playing something like Renekton if they choose to go into this and make Archangel's life as difficult as possible. One thing we should note, of course, is that we are seeing a different draft coming out, or lineup even coming out from Rice Farmers today, with 5 seconds subbing in as the jungler. And Cool Guy Tony, who is the starting jungler, was not able to play yesterday, but is in the ADC role this time around. So this does mean that we have less data to go on, and so do Sick Game Riot. So that's why they've had to adjust their drafting accordingly.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see if this Blitzcrank comes through for Sick Game Riot. It is going to be Blitzcrank locked in for Frozen 1 in that bottom lane, in that support role, into the Nautilus. And also a matchup I haven't seen too much. Blitzcrank is, other than Antunes over in Heroic League, it's not something I've seen too often. So especially matched up into a big meatball like the Nautilus, I'm excited to see how a very skilled player pilots this one.
Yes, and as we said, like Geico and Frozen are really, really strong. They have an awful lot of synergy together as players, and I think they're looking for another potential snowball lane. So if Frozen feels confident that he can make really strong 2v2 plays or potentially aggressive plays with this Trundle, if it is Pigu on the Trundle early, then they can build themselves a win condition in the bot lane, as we saw from them yesterday.
For sure. And speaking of that jungle matchup, I think it's really interesting Trundle into Nidalee, because traditionally Trundle has been a very strong jungler in the current meta because of the dueling power that Trundle has, and is really able to 1v1 most junglers in the meta. But Nidalee has such a fast clear speed and such a fast general movement speed by just pouncing around the map that might be a hard time for Trundle to get on top of her and get into that dueling scenario. So we might see the junglers kind of doing their own things throughout this one and not interacting, and I think Nidalee is pretty happy about that. So we're going to have to see if Sick Game Riot are going to try and pinch a top lane matchup for Archangel to be the one on that Trundle, or if they're going to play out that matchup.
Archangel was looking very strong yesterday on the Mordekaiser, creating a huge point of pressure on the map, and I think Sick Game Riot are very confident in his ability to do similar today. Having spoken to them previously, they think he's going to be gapping once again. So with the ADC pool very heavily pinched as well, we've seen 3 ADC bans now come out in the second round of bans, and it does look like Sick Game Riot do want to try to get their ADC locked in. It is potentially going to be, that has made it all the way to the second round of picks. And Geico, whilst it's not one of his more like well-played or like well-versed ADCs compared to the Zeri or something like Kai'Sa, it's still it's Jinx from Arcane. We all know what the champion's capable of at this point, and that Irelia, that's definitely a comfort pick as well.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see how this topside duo of the Nidalee and the Irelia work together to get an early lead into the top lane. And as far as what they're going to be into, we're going to have to see that comes through. But Samira is the pickup into Jinx Blitzcrank. I think that's really interesting. Samira is not a champion that you see very often in our heroic FOF meta, and it's a champion that probably is a pretty good matchup into Blitzcrank. Just being able to essentially negate that hook power means Frozen 1 is going to have to find their opportunities really outside of laning phase.
And I mean, with the Ezreal hover previously, I mean, we don't talk too much about hovers, but obviously, Cool Guy Tony is thinking he needs something with mobility to counteract this this pressure that the Blitzcrank's going to be exerting on him. But that is a very bold pick, particularly for a player that is off role. So I'm very excited to see what Cool Guy Tony, feels he's capable of with this Samira Nautilus combination. And that is, you did mention, Warleader, that this could be a flex to Trundle. That is Xin Zhao going to be locked in as the final pick, and now we have to question ourselves what is going to be the allocations in this top side for Sick Game Riot.
Yeah, I think this game is poised to be an absolute top lane fiesta 2v2 early in the game. Nidalee really wants to get up there and power up this Aurelia ahead. Trundle being a champion that's very good at taking those 1v1s, and Xin Zhao also very good at early game skirmishing, is likely going to be up there to match. As well as I believe both supports are going to be in quite good positions to roam this game. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out as we get onto the Rift. And so far, it looks like a pretty standard level 1 from both teams. We're just going to go 5-point, make sure no one's up to any tricky business. We might see something later on throughout this level 1 with the Blitzcrank, but there is a fear of hooking a Nautilus on top of your team.
Of course, you always have to be a little bit careful of the invade with a Blitzcrank on the board, so it does look like we are going to be seeing, as you said, a bit of a line of scrimmage being set up. Nothing too... No one wanted to go for anything too spicy level 1. Both of these drafts that we do mention have a lot of early game potential, a lot of skirmish power, as you said, Warleader, and therefore I think no one is particularly interested in giving away an advantage just because that could be an easy point for either team to snowball on. So yeah, a little bit of tentativeness just to begin with, as we know that the tension is very high with this one.
Yeah, especially with how many sort of melee range or divey champions that are on these teams. They're going to want to really be up in each other's business, with Geico on that Jinx probably being the only player that really doesn't want to be right up in the enemy's face. I mean, Cinder just can push people off, so we will have to see. I think these are going to be some very bloody fights with everyone jumping on top of each other and Jinx just trying to get out of it all.
Absolutely. Both of these teams extremely confident in their ability, both 1-0, as we mentioned, to build themselves an actual clear outright lead in the standings. And one thing, as we are going to just get into the the start of laning phase, that we should mention is that if you do want to learn more about what these teams are thinking, how they are feeling about the situation, and just all of the FOF goodness, that you should read the mag. You should have a look at the Connect.
Yeah, FOF Connect's definitely a good place to go to learn more about these teams, especially now that we're dealing with a whole new league, as we see level 2 picked up in that bot lane for the side of SGR. Going to get a lot of early game power and generally just forcing them off the wave.
Yes, of course. And Samira, extremely low range ADC, of course, does need a little bit of time in order to set up for those potential all-ins, but
We
Yeah,
see
we're
a
gonna
big
get one here.
engage into the mid lane. Spears landed in 5 seconds, absolutely going to delete Street Smurf. But Pigu Pounder wants more, finds an in onto 5 seconds, going to pounce out of there. Shouldn't be much more out of this one. Pigu Pounder not quite being able to find the follow-up. It's 1-0 first blood over to the side of Rice Farmers. Archangel looking for some skirmishing in the top lane, has a level lead, but not going to find much more. So we do see Nidalee capitalizing on that early kill, but it is in the mid lane instead of the top lane like we predicted.
Yes, it is. And it didn't take long for the tension to ramp up into some action early on, did it, War Leader? We've already had a very nicely executed gank from... Ooh, and a bit more action here.
Yeah, hook out from Nautilus, and Blitzcrank's going to hook the Nautilus right back into Jinx, who's free firing shots on the Nautilus, going to drop to about half HP. Good trade for the side of SGR. Little bit of skirmish maybe happening in the top river here, going to be forcing Kai'Sa away from that top Scuttle Crab. Should go safely over to Pigu Pounder. Good rotation from the solo lanes of the side of SGR to secure that one for their jungler, as Pigu Pounder's been able to mostly keep up in CS with Nidalee, which is not something that you really expect from Xin Zhao.
Of course, but with that early kill on 5 seconds, the sub jungler, let's remind ourselves, but was extremely confident that he would be able to gap anyway, and he's already showing that he knows how much pressure he needs to exert with this Nidalee pick. He's already onto that bot scuttle as well, and with his bot lane already having gotten off a base, he looks like he might be looking at mid lane again.
Yeah, Nautilus is here for this. We're going to have to see if the hook lands. Flash out from Nidalee, doesn't find anything. And, sorry, it was the flash from Nautilus, not Nidalee, but the hook does not find anything. The spear does not land. Street Smurf burning flash in exchange to make that not land. And we're going to go to the top lane where you see a pretty big skirmish. But Archangel, that's a big minion wave. You're taking a lot of damage. Vest in on top of Pigu Pounder is here to save. Archangel flashes out from both top lanes. Pigu Pounder is in on top of the Irelia, and there is no escape. Pigu Pounder's going to pick that one up. Really good macro play from the side of SGR to make a pretty dicey top lane duel work.
That's definitely a bit of a tilter if you're Vez right there. It did look like he was just maybe one auto away, but great stuff, as you said, from Pigu Pounder to be in that position to capitalize, build himself a kill back, and now, yeah, he's completely evened up the jungle positioning here. A lot of early, even though it's only 1 kill apiece at the moment, the action is just not stopping. It looks like we might see more from Frozen. He's looking as well.
Yep, Frozen is going to throw out that hook, not going to find Cool Guy Tony, but Copper's hook hits, and they're on top of the Blitzcrank. Samira's pumping out damage onto the Blitzcrank, who is ignited. Frozen going to have to flash away, but now the CC is on Geico. Jinx also flashing away. 5 seconds here for support, but so is Pigu Pounder. Both junglers looking for an angle, and another hook lands onto Frozen. Both supports are traded, but now Jinx is reset, and getting excited, going to be able to pepper auto attacks on top of Cool Guy Tony, and 5 seconds, who both have to flash on out of that one. Overall, 1 for 1. Pretty exciting stuff. Both junglers seeming to find each other's marks and each other's kills. Both 2-0 at this stage in the game. They have been in the exact same spot all game, fighting each other.
Both these junglers reading each other like a book, aren't they, War Leader? And really, we could not ask for a more exciting start to kick off day 2 of Mythic. This is an absolute slugfest currently. I'm looking at both sides, and I can count on one hand the number of summoners left up from both sides at the 6-minute mark. Insane, just total skirmishing across the map. Amazing that only 1 kill went the way of each side in that bot side skirmish. Again, it goes on to the junglers. Both of these junglers, they're looking to be the main source of carry potential for the time being for their teams.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Nidalee is probably a little happier than Xin Zhao to be in that scenario. You want that early game goal to be on the Nidalee, but early bot pressure and the fact of who went down in that bot side skirmish actually going to give SGR the early priority onto that dragon, and they're going to pick themselves up a Mountain Drake.
Yes, they are going to pick themselves up a Mountain Drake. That does give them just a little bit of an additional lead with the bot side continuing to roam, as we see Copper is once again just having a little look mid, but with Street Smurf taking the blue buff and with a little bit of a push, he doesn't going to be lingering there for too long as we see more skirmishing on the top side.
Yep, Nidalee is here, and the ultimate is blown from Irelia early, but Irelia is able to get out from Archangel, but Archangel's putting out so much damage. Trundle has so much dueling power. Vest drops, but 5 seconds able to trade back by the skin of their teeth. Archangel really wanted to find that 2 for 0 on the gank and is going to go 1 for 1, a third kill picked up for 5 seconds.
Amazing work by Archangel there to trade. It is going to allow 5 seconds to again pick up another kill and get a little bit of a push, but there is a bit of a difference. Hang on, Street Smurf. He's not going to get much more than that.
Yeah, Street Surf finding a lot of damage onto Kai'Sa. We've seen that throughout the early game, and it's resulted in a 72 CS lead. Street Surf power unleashed, going to mean Kai'Sa has to take a trip back to that fountain if they want to not yet risk dying to a single Dark Sphere. Corrupting Pot ticking, though. Maybe Kai'Sa's going to try and stick it out. I know Ahri passive also gives her some healing off of killing these minions, so maybe doesn't actually have to recall, so if so, that would be a pretty good exchange for Kai'Sa in the mid lane, getting that unleashed power out early.
And Frozen has roamed up to the topside river. Is thinking maybe they want to go for a little bit of a dive on this Ahri, who is still there. Oh, this is so scary.
We'll see if Kai'Sa can Spirit Rush the hook. Nope, doesn't have to. Frozen's hook is going to go wide, but their presence there is going to make it so that Piku Pounder can pick up the first Rift Herald of the game. Nice and safely. 5 seconds is clearing over on the bot side, and Geico is safe within their own jungle. So pretty good play, pretty good macro from the side of SGR to pick up that early Rift Herald in a game that has been exactly even in terms of gold. We're going to have to see if that Rift Herald makes the difference. As we see, SGR is up in this top lane, going to drop the Herald. Frozen's going to take his Herald early, lands the hook onto Vez, and will be deleted from the Rift from Street Smurf and Pigu Pounder, who also picks up a third kill of their own. Rift Herald's going to smack into that tower. Trundle as well, doing so much damage to the tower. Trundle might just be able to take first tower here.
He does take towers very quickly. And a belated welcome back to Frozen. FOF Season 3 Grand Finalist, by the way. Showing absolute domination right now on this Blitzcrank. And is this going to be answered, though? Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be answered to the bot side. 5 seconds finding a good spear onto Geico, going to put them nearly at half health as they trade turret plates in the bottom lane, but it's going to be hard to match the full first tower gold. As, wow, Street Smart finding a lot of damage onto Kai'Sa with Unleashed Power back up off cooldown. Could look for an opportunity to pick up a solo kill in that mid lane. It would be massive if so, but the roam up to top side from the side of Street Smart actually meant that Kai'Sa was started to even up the gold lead. Scout of the week hits, but knowing that 5 seconds is right there, not going to go deeper.
No, and yeah, that's he is just continuing to able to apply pressure. One thing I would say is that the decisive macro from both of these teams is very impressive right now. We see a huge invade onto the top side tower.
Oh my! Power goes out, and the charm means that Kai'Sa is going to be able to Spirit Rush out of harm's way, and Street Smurf looking very dominant on this Cinder pick in the early game, but the gold lady's even out. 5 seconds, finds the Spirit to speed Street Smurf, and Street Smurf is going to drop for a second time. 5 seconds on this Nidalee, getting so much work done is everywhere.
And what can Pigo get back from this? Because no, it looks like he's actually going to take a base and is going to try to answer anything in the bot side. That is going to allow a push in the mid lane as well. And 5 seconds is unrelenting right now. Street Smurf applying a little bit too much pressure, just lingering a little bit too long in that mid lane, and he is punishing accordingly.
Yeah, you just have to be more wary of that. This Nidalee is such a monster right now, and with that 4th kill, I have to imagine the Night Harvester or the Rocket Belt, whichever the Nidalee chooses to build, is going to be finished pretty quick here. Yes, there's 1,500 gold in Nidalee's pocket, more than enough to finish the combined cost of either of those items, and all of the gold right now for the side of Rice Farmers is on top of this Nidalee, but also let's not ignore the CS lead that Cool Guy Tony, the main jungler substituting in as ADC, has quietly built up for themselves over Geico.
And let's also notice that before this game, I will say word for word that that SGR did say to me there would be a bit of a top gap from their young top laner, and that is quite a sizable CS lead and a 2.5k gold lead for Archangel right now, and 2 levels.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of skirmishing under that tower, but the 2 level difference is going to make it not too much of an issue, and that huge top side advantage for the side of SGR does not change the fact that Rice Farmers will pick up that second Drake, and it is going to be...
my.
Frozen finds a massive hook over the wall, blind on the cool guy Tony, who's now in and has to try and build that style meter, but is going to be deleted by the Super Mega Death Rocket Geico. Falling low, but getting excited means that Copper does not have very long to live. The stopwatch is out, and that means 5 seconds is here. Geico taken solo, but does get the reset. Going to walk out. Zap lands on a 5 seconds. 5 seconds is now 1 versus 3. Going to pounce out of that, where Pika Powder flushes after Kaiso. Now arriving at the fight. Spirit Rush is going to pick up Geico. Kaiso, what else can you find here? Make sure Pika Powder doesn't get anything. Oh, Charm landed onto Frozen is going to be a lot of damage, but now Kaiso's in the middle of everything. Frozen does drop. Vess is teleported in, and the ultimate is out onto Pigu Pounder. Big shutdown going over to Kaiso. Overall, very well fought for the side of Rice Farmers, and that's going to give them a sizable lead.
That was an unreal overall sequence there, which started with one magnificent hook from Frozen. He lands another one to get his ADC out of trouble, sacrifices his own life. In the end, as you said, War Leader, it did net quite a few kills, which basically equalizes the goal now for the side of Rice Farmers. And crucially, 5 seconds gets out without giving his shutdown away either. So now it's all to play for. Kaiso managed to pick up an extra kill in that exchange as well, so he's a little bit more fed, as did Geico, who's still yet to get his Mythic online. But nevertheless, yeah, these teams are still unrelenting. There is another Rift Herald that's going to be available in just a moment, and that might be the next thing that these teams do decide to skirmish to maybe set up a full team fight over.
Yeah, there is a bit of a gold favorite, about 500 on the side of SGR right now, but it's all in that top lane, and Archangel did not have the teleport to be able to match the teleport from the side of Vest, so that coming out 5 versus 4 does go in the favor of Rice Farmers, and now we're going to see map rotations that Irelia wants to get out of that Trundle's way, so she's going to go over to that bottom side, and it's going to be Street Smurf on the Cinder matching. And I have to imagine that means Kaiso is going to be the one to match into this very fearsome Trundle right now. But Frozen's looking for another hook. He's going to find one on the Copper into the traps. Geico lands the zap, but they're outnumbered. Dredgeline does go out onto Geico, and Cool Guy Tony. So much damage coming out of that ultimate, but Archangel might find Copper here. Chomp goes out, and Copper falls. Cool Guy Tony now in trouble. Dashes to safety. Pika Pounder misses, but the flash from Archangel is going to get him. 5 seconds now in danger. Unleashed Power goes out, and is going to drop to Archangel. Archangel picking up a triple kill on that fight, and they're going to walk over to the Rift Herald.
You said it yourself, War Leader, that Archangel did not have his TP to enter that sequence previously. The moment the troll enters the fight, it's his kingdom. And he just showed it off with a triple kill right there. They're going to get themselves the Herald as well.
Yeah, and picking up the shutdown gold off of 5 seconds on that Nidalee means so much gold in the pocket of Archangel right now, who has a 500 gold shutdown and a Rift Herald in the pocket to become even more of a split-pushing menace. Now, Archangel is going to be the focus for the side of SGR at this point. Going to be really the focus of the entire game. How do you deal with a troll that has this much gold in the early game? 50 CS lead into Vess's Irelia, 4 kills to Archangel's name, and now with that big shutdown. Oh, but 5 seconds is here on Archangel. The spear's going to land off of the Irelia ult slow, and Archangel is in a lot of trouble. Vess is going to have the damage to shut down the Trundle. I was asking how they're going to do it. Rice Farmers immediately show me the answer.
No able to subjugate either there. Archangel just pushing a little bit too far. Again, decisive moves from 5 seconds to go up there, set up a 2v1. He says no, absolutely not. Are you setting up a full-on lane kingdom up here, troll or not? So they respond back very quickly, pick themselves up a shutdown, which went over to Vez, I believe, and that does mean that, again, they are going to just maintain their little bit of a gold lead, and that is going to give Vez just a little bit of additional respite, with Street Smurf going up to match him for the time being.
Yeah, I think Vess is going to be very happy to pick up that shutdown. Archangel was building themselves a very dominant lead with the amount of gold in their pocket. But that shutdown does mean that Vess has a lot of power and is going to try and use it on Street Smurf. The Dance Blades does go wide, and with no ultimate there, Street Smurf should just be able to walk out of there. Unleashed Power goes out onto Vess, going to dive under the tower. They are going to trade back and forth, but that means Street Smurf picks up the shutdown.
Street Smurf picks up the shutdown, and again, Archangel's back. He's still got the Rift Herald, so now someone's going to have to go up and match him, because yes, there's a Drake spawning in 15 seconds time, but SGR are going to say, yep, we don't care about your Drake. We've got towers to take.
Yeah, and with this grouping up in the mid lane, Geico doing so much damage to towers with Pow Pow on Jinx from Arcane, going to pick that one up. Kai'So going to teleport to try and match Archangel and the Rift Herald in the top side of the map, but Archangel wants that tower so badly. Rift Herald chunks it so much, but Kai'So doing a great job of not allowing Archangel to get near and potentially looking for more. The orb is going to go wide. Pigu Pounder's wrapping around Kai'So, commits the Spirit Rush, but Pigu Pounder is here. The Wind and Lightning goes wide, and Kai'So's going to have to dash out of there. Ooh, things almost got really dicey for Kai'So, but well played to dodge the Wind before Lightning. And Pigu Pounder not able to get on top of that one.
It was by inches as well. That could have been disastrous for Kai'So there, who in himself now is sitting on a 700 gold shutdown. So definitely not something they want to be giving either to Pigu Pounder or Archangel. So once again, that is going to... Great responses so far from Rice Farmers to stop this massive push up there in the top side. They have managed to continue to stabilize the game. The gold is dead even at the 18-minute mark with only one additional Drake on the side of Rice Farmers, their favor. The Baron is now spawning in 2 minutes' time. It's been action across the board, 21 kills in 18 minutes, but we still haven't seen... We've seen maybe one decisive team fight where Archangel cleaned up, but we'll have to see whether these teams want to, actually set themselves up for a full-on 5v5 as we hit the Baron in now a minute and a half.
Yeah, and so far, a lot of the focus of this game so far has been in the junglers and in the solo lanes. But as we transition to the team fights, it's going to be these AD carries that start to do a lot more with their general splash damage. Samira has the potential to put out so much AoE damage with that ultimate, as well as Geico with the Super Mega Death Rocket, as well as the general rockets from Fishbones. Does a lot of damage to teams, so as these teams squad up, we might have to take more of a look at these fragile ADCs to be the source of damage, and less so from these junglers that have had such proactive early games.
Very, very true. And there is a little bit of a lead for Geico continually. The CS is quite similar, but with those extra kills, he is almost on his way towards his second Zeal item. So just before, with about 30 seconds to Baron, and with these teams continuing just to try to hold vision in the river, we should take a moment just to have a look at what items are being... It's 2 items on the mid jungle for the side of Rice Farmers. A little bit behind there, but we are seeing now a Hullbreaker coming out from Archangel. So he is going to continue to try to be a split push menace. He's got the TP available should a fight break out. But yeah, as you mentioned, War Leader, yep, these ADCs, there is only a Mythic so far on Cool Guy Tony. He's a little bit behind in that aspect, and he still will be able to pump out damage, but will it be enough?
Yeah, we'll have to see. A lot of the way Samira has to play these team fights is super mechanically focused, but that's the beauty of Mythic players. Flash out from Copper is going to force Geico's flash, and that could really determine fights for the next 5 minutes. A Jinx without flash is in so much danger. Good reaction from Geico to dodge that one. Not a lot of players would be able to, but I have to think if they were a little more on their toes and use that Gale Force cooldown instead, that would be so much better. Archangel going to annihilate the bottom tower, but the spear from 5 seconds is going to land. Archangel's so big, but maybe not big enough for this 2v1. Oh, the combo is stacked, and so much damage comes out from Archangel, who flashes on top of 5 seconds. What can you do? The Zanyas comes out, but it's not enough. Archangel going to absolutely delete both Vess and 5 seconds from the Rift. That Hullbreaker, so massive. And that means SGR is going to go to Baron. Let's get a replay on what happens here.
That's a nice tower you've got there. Where'd it go? And yeah, he said, sure, you want to jump in with your spears? You're in my domain now. And he's just so far ahead with the Hullbreaker as well. All those extra resistances. He can comfortably 2v1 this. Unreal for the young top laner of SGR, who has just built them a gigantic lead where it wasn't even game previously. That's going to give them the Baron as well.
Yeah, not just the Baron, but Archangel's still in that bottom lane, posing a big threat. And Rice Farmers has to decide which of these threats they want to deal with. The 3 remaining members do decide to go up to the Baron pit to try and stop it. And Scatter will be sitting wide. Kai'So's in on top of Street Smurf, who goes early, but Geico is already dead. Cool Guy Tony in there doing so much damage, going to completely the Baron take, but Archangel has teleported into the fight, but the Hullbreaker's off, and that means Kai'So putting out so much damage, gets a big shutdown on Archangel, and Frozen being the sole member left alive. Oh my goodness, Rice Farmers, big play out of nothing to find an ace on the SGR.
Thank you for the observers. It is a graveyard right now. It is a scene of war leader in the Baron pit. Absolutely. I hold my hands up. I cursed them. I did think the Baron was going to go over after those two that 2v1 in the bot side, but decisive play from Rice Farmers. They turn it back around. Kaiso comes up huge, still unkilled, 2 more kills. He manages to take the mid turret and keep his team's hopes alive.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see as this one goes on if the bigger buff is having Ari on your team in Mythic, or if it's having a 16-year-old superstar top laner, as those appear to be the big threats in this one right now. So now Baron not on either team, still up for as an objective to fight over Kaiso waiting in the wings. Frozen 1 hook going to barely miss out Kaiso, who didn't have any sort of dash to get away with that one. Could have been disastrous, but able to sidestep that one. And for now, it's going to be Rice Farmers. They're the ones getting the vision control right now in that bottom river. Pick themselves up Ocean Soul Point, and we're gonna have to see if SGR wants to do anything about it. Without having teleport on Archangel, it's going to be hard to get them in the area, but Spirit Rush coming out from Kaiso, trying to find Street Smart. Scout of the Week doesn't matter when the Dredge line comes in from Copper, and Kaiso able to just pepper in a few more auto attacks, take out Street Smurf Syndra, who's been in a lot of trouble. Vest going to find a lot off this ultimate onto Geico, and Frozen.
Look at top lane.
Comes out, and Geico is deleted. Vest still trying to find more on Frozen, but Pika Pounder's here. Archangel's taking an inhibitor. Meanwhile, as this fight goes on, that inhibitor's going to drop, but Vest is finding so much. Finds Frozen and is going to find Pika Pounder with the help of Guy Tony. And oh my goodness, a disaster for SGR, except for Archangel finding a tower on the top side. But as Rice Farmers goes to Baron, Archangel's in the area to play spoiler potentially. They're not going to find him. No, Copper sees where Archangel is, and Archangel's running right into Kaiso, who lanes a full combo, but it does almost nothing. The ultimate does come out, the death charge onto Archangel, who's now rooted under the tower. And oh, Trundle's strong, you're ahead, but you're not quite far ahead. And it's going to mean Rice Farmers should have pretty premium access to this Baron.
There's one thing they've got, and that's a Jinx rocket, but it doesn't look Geico's going to fire it out in time! Oh, okay, it's going to get blocked.
Copper gonna block that one up. Baron is going over to 5 seconds on the side of Rice Farmers, who have it on all 5 of their members. And now this gold gap is starting to separate. 4,000 almost for the side of Rice Farmers. Archangel's gonna have to do a lot of work with that Hull Breaker, more than just the one inhibitor in topside.
And War Leader, you asked the question, what's more powerful right now? The Ahri's sitting on a death cap. I think we have our answer for the time being. Archangel, if he's getting locked down by so much CC, he can't get on top of Kaiso and actually make enough damage happen. Vez, by the way, make a huge gamble.
Oh! Kaiso flash forward, Spear Rush, the orb hits everyone, and the side of Rice Farmers are pressing forward, but Pounder almost getting away, 5 seconds going to delete them with the Q. The spear is massive and hits Geico, removing that ADC from the Rift, and with a triple kill going over to the side of 5 seconds.
Oh my!
Baron is going to be deadly. Scout of the Week comes up pretty huge, canceling a bunch of recalls, but Archangel isn't being a side leading threat right now, has to be in that middle lane. 2 versus 5 versus Baron is going to be rough. Unleashed Teleport is coming up from Archangel. Might have to make this a base race as the side of Rice Farmers pushes for this inhibitor. Kaiso preemptively recalling to clear the super minions on the Nexus Tower, probably going to negate any chance of Archangel has a base racing, but that recall also means that they should be safe from the side of SGR to clean up the minions in their base. But picking up so much standing gold on the map is going to accelerate Rice Farmers even farther ahead. The gold lead's now at 6,000.
It's a huge gold lead now, and that was a massive play in the mid lane there with now Rice Farmers, they're fully online, and Archangel, he can't do all of the work himself, and the rest of his team, they're a little bit behind at this stage of the game. Look, everyone's got a bounty on the side of Rice Farmers at this point, bar the support, and the amount of lockdown they have, the amount of damage, they just don't have the resistances or they're not able to deal with it to any meaningful degree. Yes, there was a great Scout of the Week came out to delay some backs. Maybe they can still have the option of that potential backdoor. Archangel is still sitting on his TP, but at this point, it's becoming harder and harder for SGR.
Yeah, it becomes really difficult at this point. Kaiso is a nearly unstoppable force now. With a stopwatch in the pocket, makes it even harder to get on top of the slippery fox. And now, Kaiso and Copper can kind of just play around in the jungle, clear up some vision, let Cool Guy Tony in 5 seconds, take out more standing gold on the map. The Baron buff is still up for a short while longer. It's up to the side of SGR to just try and claw back what little vision they can in the jungle as these Baron minions are still pounding away at the top ender turret. Archangel here to clean it up, but so are his teammates. He's got to turn off that Hullbreaker buff if they're that much closer, and SGR have fully grouped up in this top side to try and stop the siege and see if they can find a pick. Spear from 5 seconds goes wide. Scout of the Week goes out on the Kai'Sa, but the Zap doesn't follow up.
Baron's
Forces
off.
out the Spear Rush, though. And now the Baron is off, and the siege should be off. But Vest putting in a lot of work on the side lane. Now Archangel is going to have to answer.
He is, yes, and it's now the tables have turned a little bit because Vez has made some actually incredible proactive plays, particularly that play in mid we saw earlier, which has actually put him fully back in the game now. He is really, really strong on this side, really, and is a serious potential side lane threat that now, as you say, someone's going to have to deal with. It is going to have to be Archangel, most likely, who is still probably potentially winning the 1v1, but nevertheless, now the entire map state can be controlled by the side of Rice Farmers. Even though they have that open inhib on the top side, they can just go and continue to push in as a team whilst they can play 4-1. And more so than that, they've got a potential stole in 30 seconds time. Are SGR in a position to answer this? They're not going to have much control of their jungle to begin with.
Yeah, and really 5 seconds of Cool Guy Tony and Copper already laying the vision down in that bottom side jungle for the side of SGR, going to make it so tough to get into this river. And we might see a potential 5v5 brawl breakout for what could be the turning point of this game. But Kai'Sa wants to end it early, looking for Pigu Pounder. And there's a fight going to break a mid lane. Hook lands onto the side of Frozen, and so much damage comes out. Pigu Pounder's in the bat lane, but Kai'Sa's on a rampage, and Samira goes into the overdrive and does so much damage. Street Smurf, Pigu Pounder, Archangel, one by one they'll fall. Archangel's so strong though, able to walk away, flashing out from the side of S. 5 seconds goes to follow. The spear, it misses. Archangel, so much damage. Will they find 5 seconds? They're both on about 1 HP. What will happen after the Zanyas? It'll be Archangel picking up the 700 gold shutdown, and now has to find a way to get into the base to defend against the Irelia siege. This 1v1 base race could be massive.
It's a 1v1 top lane just to potentially end the game for Vez. And Archangel, he's delayed a little bit. He's actually going to elect to take the Drake, but he might actually be losing the game.
Yeah, it's a really bold decision to take the Drake, but respawn timers from Geico and Frozen are going to mean that Vest has to back off, not going to quite pick up that Nexus Tower, and overall, really heads up play from Archangel. Call in from the team, hey, we can defend this, go take the Drake, deny the Ocean Soul, we can keep this game alive, barely, by the skin of their teeth and the skin of their troll.
Very true. I'm lucky. They're lucky that he's the top laner and not me. But as you say, he sees the respawn timers. They come out in time. That is going to mean that yes, Vez is knocking on the Nexus turrets, but ultimately they don't lose anything more. They've got one inhib down in the mid lane. The inhib has respawned, of course, on the side of Rice Farmers, so they don't have supers to worry about for the time being. But now the Baron spawn, they have some vision control. Oh my god!
Oh my goodness! Hooks come out from both supports, but Copper says, nope, I'm heading out, and going to negate that potential pick from the side of Frozen.
Yes, and still, it's getting to the point where Archangel, as we saw in that previous fight, especially when he has the... Oh god, Frozen's just fishing at this point, and it does look like maybe they're going to sit in the mid lane as a 5 and just try to run it. I think either win just ends the game at this point. So it's really, really scary for both teams. Respawn times are very long at this stage, and no one wants to be potentially giving a pick away because, yes, Frozen can make an engage happen with the hook. There's lots of engage options as well, of course, on the side of Rice Farmers. A potential pick is absolutely disastrous, and that means that they will continue to dance a little bit longer, but they are still both turning their sights towards the Baron.
Yeah, but they have to commit 3 members to stop Archangel, and that means right now it's SGR that actually have the priority on top of this Baron, and both Vess and Kai'Sa have to be bought to deal with Archangel, and that appears to be the fight that's going to break out next. The Flawless Duet does land on top of Archangel, who is now rooted up and stunned up, but Lethal Tempo is being stacked. Kai'Sa has to try and dash away, has to go into Zanyas to stay alive.
Oh my god.
Sterix is popped, means Archangel's going to live for now, gets out so much damage, but the duo managed to shut down Archangel. And now SGR have to go for a Hail Mary play. Maybe, no, they're not going to start up the Baron. They can't afford it. They have to wait for Archangel to respawn, and that means it is entirely in Rice Farmers' court to take this one.
All their TPs are being burnt now. They're fully committing to the Baron play. The only way, again, to stop it is a potential Jinxed Rocket, but it doesn't look particularly likely. Instead, SGR are just going to elect to try to maintain some tempo in the mid lane. So, I mean,
Super Mega Death Rocket, here it comes! It's a lot of damage from Sonic. Pigu's in the Baron, and not going to quite steal it. That means Pigu is going to drop, and it is 5 versus 4. Archangel respawning in the next 12 seconds. Objective bounty claimed in the mid lane. Heads up by Street Smurf to pick that one up. A little more gold in SGR's pockets, but the gold lead has grown to about 7,000 for the side of Rice Farmers as they start to begin the siege for the Nexus.
You know, what is so incredible about this war leader is, yes, the gold lead is 7,000, but it feels so undecided this game, necessarily, because we've seen just fights go in both directions now. Rice Farmers do have a decisive lead. Can they end off this push? They still have to be careful because there are some incredibly strong members, well, particularly the top laner on the side of SGR. They can't take this line down.
No, and speaking of not taking it lying down, Frozen is fishing, only going to find themselves a caster minion. Going to delay the push just a little bit. Still finding a lot of damage, but gets zapped back. Frozen now at about half HP, as for now, SGR have cleaned up the top wave, but this is the part where Rice Farmers transition their shove into the mid lane.
Yes, and the inhib, all inhibs are up as well. If they can hold on to this inhib a little while, they're still so scared of that hook that they can't walk up too much, but they still have 45 seconds, no, sorry, a long while left on Baron, excuse me, so they can continue, they can be patient.
They can absolutely be patient, but they don't have to be, as they already walk up and take the inhibitor. SGR don't have enough resources to deal with everything. Hook going to go wide, looking for 5 seconds, and that means there's no pressure for SGR to threaten them off of the inhibitor, and that's a second inhibitor going down for Rice Farmers. Frozen hook forward, going to find Iso, whose Spirit Rush is out of there. Cool Guy Tony taking it so low, but the overdrive's going off, and Vess is doing massive damage in the backline. Geico having to flash away, and Archangel is slain. Piku Pounder not going to be able to find much of the backline, while Vess cleans up the entire backline from the side of SGR. It's Street Smurf left standing, not going to quite find Vess, and it's going to be 4 versus 1 at the Nexus. Street Smurf going to have to do something incredible if they want to turn this one around, but I don't think it's going to happen. There's not enough damage. Scout of the Week does not find enough, and it's going to be Rice Farmers picking up our first game of the day.
And with that, Rice Farmers put themselves decisively as first in the league with that head-to-head on top of SGR. That was a real banger to start things off, wasn't it, War Leader? I'm just massively back and forth, 34 minutes, and it really, I think, for quite a while could have gone either way, whatever the gold count was. I'm very impressed with both sides. Particularly at the end there, Vez just saying, yes, what top gap? Look at me at the end of the game.
Yeah, at the end of the game, you wouldn't know there was any top gap, as Vess is able to decisively shut down a potential backline from Geico and Frozen and Street Smurf, making it so difficult. Geico can't get a reset going, and that's the power of Jinx. If you can't power your way through this Irelia, what's the point? So we're going to see Rice Farmers, even with an interesting substitute roster, are going to absolutely pave their way through the other main contenders, the FOF veterans in SGR. And now we're going to have to go to the other games of the day where we will see both of these teams again.